Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining today's webinar with Novavax. My name is Chris Frew. I'm the CEO of BioBuzz. And it's our pleasure today to host this engaging webinar with Novavax to showcase their SuperNOVA culture and the dozens of jobs they're hiring for to help support their mission. At BioBuzz, our mission is to create exceptional experiences that better connect talent with great companies and better connect those companies with great talent, just like yourselves. So we're honored today to host the Novavax team to help share their story and share dozens of opportunities that they have at their company. Just some housekeeping before we get started. So today's event will be recorded. If you have to jump off, if your kids have an assignment due or their class ends at home, or we know everybody works from home these days, don't worry, we'll get that recording off to you within a day or two after we produce it after the event. We hope you can stick around the whole time because this is going to be a really great event today. You're also going to have an opportunity to ask questions. So I noticed that many of you are already in the chat, and which is wonderful. We encourage you to use that to provide feedback to our panelists, to engage with other people you might see online. If you have questions though, what we'd like you to do is use the Q&A function, which is located at the bottom of the Zoom app. So that Q&A function is going to let us to answer your questions most efficiently. And we are going to have a Q&A section to this event at the end. So several of your questions will be answered at the end of the event. When possible, we'll do our best to answer them during the event as well. So again, please use that Q&A function. That's what we'll be managing most of the questions that come in. A couple other points of the webinar today is that you'll notice a few polls that come out. And I encourage you to participate in those. Those are a great way for us to kind of get some feedback direct from you all. And you'll be hearing from several of Novavax's team today. And a few of them you won't see until the end, but we're behind the scenes and we'll be managing the Q&A and chat to make sure that you're getting everything that you need out of today's webinar. So that's all the housekeeping I have for me. And I'm going to, at this point, pass it off to Fred Schemmer, VP of QA, who will kick things off today for us.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you to BioBuzz for helping to coordinate and facilitate this recruiting event. It's very much appreciated as Novavax continues to grow and work towards a resolution to this pandemic. So as Chris mentioned, my name is Fred Schemmer. I'm the Vice President of Quality Systems and Compliance. I've been with Novavax for about 6 years now. And over these last 6 years, I've been part of an exciting time at Novavax where the company has developed multiple vaccine candidates, including those to treat RSV, influenza, and COVID. Our company, as with many biotechs, has had its share of ups and downs. With that said, over the past year, we've reported positive phase 3 data for our flu vaccine trial, as well as have strong data, both preclinical and clinical, to support our COVID vaccine candidate. With the strong data that we have, Novavax has obtained more than $2 billion in funding from CEPI, which is the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness, as well as the US government as part of Warp Speed to develop a vaccine for this pandemic that has affected all of us. This funding has allowed Novavax to grow our SuperNOVA population exponentially as we meet the exceptionally aggressive timelines that we have for development of this vaccine. We reported top-line data from our phase 1 trial previously and are actively involved in clinical phases 2 and 3 for this vaccine candidate. We recently announced that we have completed enrollment for our UK phase 3 trial, as well as our South America phase 2B trial. And with the enrollment of these trials, we've now dosed over 20,000 volunteers in our COVID trials to date, with a pending US-Mexico phase 3 trial expected to start in the upcoming weeks. These accomplishments are only, these accomplishments are only possible with our greatest resource, and that's our SuperNOVAs. Those are our employees that we define, we like to define them as our SuperNOVAs, and they really are our greatest resource because anything and everything that we've done is only possible with them. As we continue to grow and develop our SuperNOVAs, we can continue to create tomorrow's vaccines today, which is our Novavax tagline. Since the beginning of this year, the QA organization has grown from a small group to more than 40 SuperNOVAs. We have openings for another 15 quality professionals as we continue to support our internal and external business partners for oversight of manufacturing and the clinical trials as we quickly move towards a commercial environment. We currently work with more than 20 manufacturing testing sites and are going to be adding significantly more over the coming months. And we need candidates who are not afraid of a challenge. With the rapid nature of the COVID vaccine program, as evidenced by Operation Warp Speed, our supply chain continues to grow across North America, Europe, and Asia, and we need people who have the technical knowledge and the ability to understand and apply quality risk management principles in their daily work. The challenges of tech transfer across so many sites while keeping the product and process consistent is and will continue to be a challenge as we develop our increasing knowledge of this vaccine. And as these challenges are all worth the effort as we're working to put an end to the pandemic and so that we all can get back to our normal lives. I'm a SuperNOVA because I want to make a positive difference in the lives of our patients.
Thanks for that intro, Fred. Ms. John Cutley, Director of Manufacturing, responsible for drug manufacturing, as well as manufacturing sciences and technology. So I want to talk to you a little bit about a deeper dive into our COVID-19 program and how we're growing the company. So we began our COVID-19 program back in January of 2020. At that time, most of us probably hadn't heard of COVID-19, and we were only beginning to become aware of what was happening in China and other parts of the world. It seems hard to imagine it's only been 10, 11 months since that time. So in our response to COVID, we started by taking our vaccine platform and adapting it to the COVID-19 virus. So we're solving multiple key challenges needed to launch a new product. Among those include developing our process, scaling it to larger manufacturing sizes, transferring it to manufacturing sites around the world, building a global supply chain, and developing a regulatory strategy for emergency use. These steps would normally take years, and we've been at this only, as I said, for 10 or 11 months. And right now we sit here on the cusp of having phase 3 efficacy results. Our company's strategy is to execute on this program while building for a long-term sustainable organization. We like to call this approach building the plane while flying it. You know, I think speaking a little bit about the value proposition for potential and current employees, it's the chance to experience and contribute to so many of those key aspects for biologics development and commercialization. So you have the potential not just to do that work, but also to contribute to the design of it, both in how we do that work and how the organization is going to be structured for doing that work in the future. So now I'd like to tell you a little bit about what tech transfer looks like. For anybody who has not done it before, it's basically you're taking a recipe and you're taking it from one area to another. So it's kind of like baking. If you were to say, I make the world's best cookies and I'm going to teach you how to make the world's best cookies. It's just that these cookies are highly technical and have to be injected into millions of people. So it's about taking a highly technical manufacturing process and teaching another organization how to replicate that process. It's really exciting. You have the opportunity every day to solve new problems. Just this year, because we've been tech transferring this process around the world, I myself have had the opportunity to travel to the Czech Republic, to Spain, the United Kingdom, and places within the United States, such as Texas, North Carolina, and New England. Everywhere I went, I was meeting new people and rapidly diving into problem solving. So, you know, to do this work well, you have to enjoy hanging out with people at least a little bit, but then there also comes a lot of technical aptitude in terms of being able to process information, apply it to new, and rapidly make decisions in a team. So thinking a little bit about, you know, how our organization responded to the pandemic, we responded by activating our rapid response for vaccine development and manufacturing. And I have very vivid memories of the early days. In February, in March, I can recall our schools shutting down on March 17th and thinking about how are we going to continue doing this work remotely. Every day since then, we've been working to create an effective product and scale that up, generate the capacity to serve hundreds of millions of people worldwide. And so it's a lot of work, but it's also probably the most significant and rewarding thing I've done in my life. So I'll summarize in saying that I'm a supernova because I feel that I have the opportunity to impact human health worldwide every day.
That's great, John. Thank you. I totally agree. I'm Kate Malachowski. I'm an Associate Director of MS&T, which stands for Manufacturing Science and Technology. At Novavax, MS&T is responsible for owning the DS manufacturing process and all of the quality documentation that goes along with that, data trending, owning technical investigations to help our sites troubleshoot issues that may come up, process validation, including PPQ and CPV, the whole validation life cycle, and raw materials, including understanding raw material variability, controls, qualification of additional sources, everything that feeds into that. And our area of responsibility is critical because of the global nature of our operation that John started to describe. With multiple drug substance sites all supporting our COVID vaccine, we're responsible for ensuring that all of them are running a process with a control strategy that works for their facility, but is also going to produce comparable material. And we're trying to respond as quickly as possible to any issues that pop up. So in that regard, we're looking for people who are flexible and able to respond to whatever the latest challenge is. And also people who have a really sound problem-solving methodology, people who can look at a problem analytically, understand the problem, quantify the problem, identify root causes, and then move forward with solutions. And I think that one of the special aspects of our team, and I'm sure this applies to everyone, but I feel it acutely, is how easy it is to engage in the Novavax mission with all of those responsibilities. We feel ownership over the process. We help get our sites and tech transfer teams up to speed and help them be successful. We get to see all the data coming in from our sites, and we get to look at data across sites and see how everyone's performing. And it's been really gratifying so far to see how the tech transfer process has gone and the implementation of our drug substance process at all of our sites. And so I would say I'm a supernova because I like to be challenged at work every day.
Thanks, Kate. My name is Arthur McIntyre, and I'm the Senior Manager of QA Operations here at Novavax. As the Senior QA Manager, my team and I, we help provide quality support in all facets of the GMP operations, basically ranging from what Kate just mentioned, tech transfer activities, as well as the GMP manufacturing operations, from that point to lot release, packaging and labeling of the vial drug products and materials that's being manufactured here at Novavax, as well as providing support from GMP operations. So basically my team provides support from basically the implementation of manufacturing operations all the way through release. So we have our hands in a lot of facets of the organization from a GMP perspective. One thing that we're looking for candidates that are looking to join the Novavax quality organization is that we're looking for experienced quality leaders that have strong technical backgrounds, that are one, self-motivated, goal-driven, definitely hard, independent workers, able to think outside of the box, excellent problem solvers, and also works well in a team environment. We're looking for individuals that are dedicated to providing the best quality support and enable for us to ensure that we can provide a safe and effective COVID-19 vaccine to combat the pandemic that we're fighting against globally. Of course, there are some challenges that we're facing here at Novavax. But currently, right now, we are a virtual company, which allows us to have flexibility in order to meet this challenge. Right now, we're working with over 16 drug products and drug substance manufacturing CMOs across the globe. This is something that cannot be accomplished unless we were in a virtual environment. So we're adjusting to the times that we're in right now. But even though, despite these challenges, we are working hard, we are working effectively as a group in order to solve this global problem that we're facing today. But of course, with the large number of CMOs that we're working with, it's imperative that we find the right candidates that have the right level of expertise in order to help the growing organizational needs and support so we can overcome this challenge that we're facing today. One of the things that I really enjoy about working here at Novavax is that we are a very well-oiled machine. We are team-oriented, we work together, we collaborate effectively, we support one another, And despite the challenges that we're facing, we never give up. There is no back down in Novavax employees. And that's one of the great things that I enjoy about being here. And I'm just happy to be a part of the Novavax team. And that's the reason why I'm a SuperNOVA.
Thanks, Orenthal. Hi, my name is Jessica Suschak, and I'm a senior manager for CMC Analytical. It's a bit of an interesting title, but I'm part of the quality control organization. The main focus of my role is to support the Novavax analytical program, both internally and externally. Right now, my team is primarily focused on the COVID program and tech transfer, as everyone else has mentioned. We support all of the analytical method tech transfer activities to all partner sites around the globe. And we support risk assessment, gap analysis, and troubleshooting activities to ensure that every site is performing up to the Novavax high standard. We also are responsible for our critical reagent program, which is no small task with our current global network of partners. For me, my journey with Novabax has been extremely rewarding. I joined as a bench scientist in 2018 in the analytical development department, and I was heavily involved on hands-on method development work for both our RSV and NanoFlu programs. During that time, I learned about the inner workings of the analytical program requirements to support a protein subunit vaccine. After a few years, I moved on to another AD scientist role. And interestingly, that role ended up supporting the Novavax NanoFlu program from an external provider. During that time, I realized how much I missed the camaraderie of my Novavax colleagues and the fantastic science that was being performed at Novavax. Luckily for me, I was able to find another position back at Novavax. My decision to rejoin was simple: great science, great people, and great benefits. Additionally, Novavax has always looked to enrich their employees' careers. If you are an ambitious person looking to grow, Novavax is a primary candidate. From different opportunities in LinkedIn Learning and one-on-one career coaching, Novavax is always looking to support each employee's growth potential. I've also found at Novavax that I've been given the opportunity to work cross-functionally. I've worked very closely with all of the other panelists spoken today to be able to perform my role. I have to work closely with both manufacturing teams to make sure that the analytical inputs and outputs are meeting the required needs. And in that process, I've learned huge amounts of knowledge about the logistical requirements of large-scale manufacturing and insight into the supply chain needed to support it. We also have to work with all of the quality departments and regulatory departments. We work cross-functionally, and it's absolutely required for my team to succeed. Novavax has always encouraged cross-functional meetings and groups to make sure everyone is supported and has access to the vast network and Novavax knowledge. And I would say that I'm a SuperNOVA because I get to play a small part in providing vaccines that will save lives around the world, and that is a worthwhile endeavor.
Thanks, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha Cosier, and I am a QA training specialist, level 2. I've been with Novavax for a little over a year now. I joined in September of 2019. I actually joined as a contractor, and when I started, I was doing kind of a generalist role, I would say, which at the time might have been a little bit all over the place, but it gave me a great opportunity to see all of the varieties of the QA team. At the time, it was much smaller. We were probably a group of 8 or 10 or so, but it helped me learn a lot as somebody who is pretty early in my career. I'm still trying to figure out my path and what roles I would like to take. But I quickly fell into a documentation / training role, which has led me into being a training specialist today. One of the things that I love about being in this role that Jessica and Orenthal have touched on is that in the training group specifically, it's in other groups, but in my role, I get to meet with people across the company. I have to work with all of the different groups in order to best support them, because without training, we can't do our jobs accurately and efficiently the way that they're meant to happen. Now, I might not necessarily be on the front lines of approving data and whatnot, but to me, helping on the back end, making sure our new hires, as many as there have been, are trained appropriately. That's been something that's been really amazing in the last 10 months or however long we've been, doing the COVID journey. A little bit more about my kind of day-to-day, what you could expect to see in the training group is we are developing a lot of new courses that we think will help make our processes more efficient. We're trying to bring our company up to a place where we have top-notch training programs. And what's been great about that is my team has really allowed us to grow and look at options that are not necessarily how we've been doing them for years. We're all about efficiency, but it's about growth and testing out the waters. So I've been able to explore lots of different training methods, and I'll be taking some courses coming up soon, which, as Jessica said, Novavax is very, very pro career growth. And if there's something that you're interested in, your team wants you to do it and take advantage of it, which has been really amazing. That's something that I've really appreciated being a part of the Novavax team. It's been tricky with most of us working remotely, but like Orenthal said, we're a team and we always find a way to get things done. I would say that I'm a SuperNOVA because, as everybody said, it's been really great to feel like you make an impact on this global pandemic. But from my side of things, it's been great to be a part of a team that really provides support and pushes you to learn new things and try out different things that you might not have necessarily expected to be a part of, but that can really shed some light on things that you're good at or things that you're interested in. And it's been really great for my growth in my career specifically, but it's a great team overall. I might be a little bit biased to the quality team, but Novavax in general has been a great place to be for the last year or so, and they really do support their people and want the best for everybody. So that's why I'm a SuperNOVA. It's the global effect, but it's been a great team, and that's what it comes down to on a day-to-day basis is, does your team have your back, and do they want what's best for you?
Thank you, Samantha. That was great. I think those are some great stories. Something that I think was a common theme throughout is teamwork. And I heard that from everybody. And I have to imagine that scaling so fast and rapidly and with such such timelines, teamwork, it's no doubt is probably one of the most important elements. I was wondering if I could ask a question for any of our panelists to feel free to answer on that. But when it comes to teamwork and as you're hiring and growing and trying to establish those teams, maybe can you share some stories about things that you're doing to help facilitate those teams to connect and get to know each other and work better together? Are there some things you apply or really to engage your employees, especially your new employees, so that they can kind of fit right in on that team? And I'll open that up to whoever wants to jump in.
I'll start off if that's okay. So one of the things before I answer that question, and it dovetails with the question itself, but one of the things that I realized is that, and we've had multiple employees who have returned to Novavax, and Jessica Orenthal, and Kate, yes. I forgot about you because it seems like you never left, Kate. But one of the things that I realized is that we have had multiple employees who have departed Novavax and come back, and I think that's a testament to our level of teamwork, to our coordination, to our culture. And that's one of the things that I personally like about it, is that we do challenge each other. It's not, and what we're trying to do here is not easy. We're trying to develop a vaccine from early phase development to commercialization in less than a year, while we're building our organization from a clinical development organization to a commercial one and it's a challenging situation, and one in which John and I have worked together for the past almost 6 years, and we challenge each other, and it's good to have those challenges because what we're trying to do here is novel. No company, with the exception of Moderna and Pfizer at this point, have done what we're trying to do here, and we have to continue to challenge, but we have to do it in a respectful way where we're also building the culture so that we can be sustainable. One of the things that that's important to acknowledge here is that we are challenged with new and novel issues. We're trying to bring up probably around 20 currently CMOs and contract test labs, and that is a challenge for everyone on this on this panel today, is making sure that we're doing things quickly and appropriately while making sure that we are challenging not only ourselves but others for what is the norm and what is expected. So I'm not sure I fully answered your question, Chris, but just wanted to give that perspective.
No, I mean, that's a great perspective. I mean, I think, if anyone has any stories or examples of how they're facilitating teamwork, they can jump in here. If not, I can jump into a couple other questions. Samantha, I saw you come on mute. Do you have you want to jump in?
So one of the things that the QA group has been doing, and keep in mind that the QA at large group is split into various different subgroups, but some of the things we've been doing is every month or every couple of weeks, we try to get into those different groups and have more relaxed like Zoom meetings with our video on, because I think most of us get into the habit of just having calls without video and you don't get that face-to-face interaction. So we try our best to have as many video on calls that are just casual, not talking about what day-to-day emergencies might be happening, and just getting to know each other, especially as the group has grown so much. It's been really important for us to take the time to actually get to know the members of our group, and beyond just what do you do every day for a role.
Yeah, that's important, especially, I guess, especially what you touched on is especially during the pandemic. Obviously, you all are working so hard to end it for us all, but during it sounds like you're working to create a culture where people still can stay connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of our team has been working remotely, so it's been important to still feel like you are part of a team and not just somebody working at Novavax. You're working with Novavax, you're working with the team.
Yeah, that's great.
Hey, Chris, it's Stephanie. I wanted to kind of chime in for a moment as well. I was thinking about how we're working together as teams, but not only are we getting to know one another virtually, we're also getting to know people's families, their dogs, their kids, so much more than we knew when we were just working next to them, sometimes at a desk in the office. So I think it's also created this really neat environment to get to know each other at a much more personal level as well.
Agree, and I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge again the Kate's Pac-Man curtains. They are a welcome sight every time I log on.
Yeah, secret nerd right here, or maybe not so secret.
It's out.
Yeah. So if I can chime in too, I think every group is finding their own way to embrace that like work hard, play hard kind of mentality. So for our group, John talked about how we have sites globally and our tech transfer teams are traveling. So one of the fun things I think we do is on one of our Teams channels, people can share pictures and videos. And so sometimes it's a picture of the first successful downstream run, people cheering and rocking out in the downstream suite, or it's a photograph of look at my view of Prague from my window, something like that. So that's one way that our team has gotten to know each other and shared experiences.
That's
yeah, sorry, Chris. I would add to what Kate was saying. I think that moving to virtual, especially at this pace, was something that we didn't have any preparation to do. And so we've just kind of figured it out as we've gone along. So, initially we would try to schedule, happy hour type events virtually. But then we found once you got above a team of 9 people, you didn't all fit in the screen well. And so then we were like, well, let's try something different. And so we've been using some of our new technology, such as Microsoft Teams, and some of the chatting function works well, like Slack, for sharing multimedia, whether it's videos or, GIFs or memes to talk about how we're feeling, but that way of sharing information in a more natural, free-flowing way, because the reality is that our personal lives have intersected with work to a much greater extent than they have in the past. And so by allowing people that opportunity to express themselves in all types of medium, it's enabling us to be effective, but also learn about each other and have some fun.
That's terrific, John. I have another question, and just to the audience, we will get to everyone's Q&A just in a couple minutes. But John, you mentioned something when you were talking earlier that this past year especially has never been more rewarding to you, based on what you all are doing, what you all are working to and things. And I know Fred talked a lot about how you challenge each other, and it's a challenging work environment. I guess my question kind of combines the two is, when you're talking to a candidate who's interested in Novavax, what is it? What are the career challenges that they're going to face, and what does that do for their career? I mean, I can imagine there's very few companies that are trying to tackle what you all are tackling. So what do you tell candidates that joining Novavax will do for them, both professionally and I guess personally from the reward standpoint?
No, that's a great question, Chris. I think that if you think about the standard approach to biologics development, you start with a concept around a product, you try some things, you're going to be working preclinically, so in a lab with animal models. You're then going to move through typically 3 phases of clinical trials, and then hopefully to licensure and approval. That process might take 5 years, maybe it takes 10 years if you have setbacks. And so if you think about it from an employee perspective, how long might you be working in the same type of role with the same type of product? Some people might stick around for that entire 10 years. More likely, you're going to see a piece of it. And in the normal, at the normal speed, there's a lot of risk aversion in our industry. And so it's typical that you would follow a well-worn path of, well, this is how you do it. And so you try to avoid carving a new path, because that taking on that type of risk can be expensive for a company, and it can be discouraged. So what's really different for the individual professional in this environment is you take that long time frame and you compress it down. And I know that kind of sounds cliche because everything is happening fast paced. But what this means is, as an individual, we're all mostly in the same jobs for this past year, which means from that perspective of that role, we've gotten to see everything from initial concept and recognition of a disease target, all the way to we've started phase 3 trial and we are planning for regulatory approval. And so to do that in one role and not have to stay for years and years, it's unprecedented, at least from anything I've heard about. And then the other piece in terms of, you can't follow a well-worn path for a pandemic response. And it just doesn't allow it for the timeline that the world needs. And so going to what Fred was saying before, we're having to challenge the status quo at almost every turn. And that's difficult. That means you have to come in every day and you have to say, am I willing to step up and say, I have an idea for how to do it differently and faster? And half of those ideas, maybe more, are bad ones, but it's only through sourcing those and churning and challenging each other that we find a better, faster way that isn't an industry standard. So it's incredibly, that's where the opportunity is at the professional level. It's hard, but it's really fun.
Yeah, you can tell. Does anyone else want to comment on that before we move on?
Well, one of the things that I think came through with Jess and Sam is that they started out in different roles, and just based upon what they've been able to demonstrate, the opportunities at the company, Jess went from a strictly development role, and now she is one of our compliance SMEs in QC. Yes, you are, Jess. And with Sam, she started out in a generalist role, and with those opportunities available, she's working towards a training profession and training career. So I think that one of the opportunities that exist here is that we are a growing company. We've expanded from, and Stephanie, you'll have to help me here, but roughly 125 people at the beginning of the year to well over 600 now globally. So there are opportunities, not just for external employees, but also for internal employees, to make sure that everybody's following a career path that works for them.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. And we have 353 people working in the United States right now. And back in March, I think we were 135 people. So the growth has just been tremendous. So thank you for bringing that up. And hey, Jessica, we have a question for you. I was hoping you can answer from one of our attendees. I'm gonna see here. It says, what tools are available to access the vast network of Novavax knowledge that you mentioned? How do you leverage technology to operationalize that knowledge?
Sure. So we have, an operational excellence program that is growing currently that really helps us sort of create processes and procedures where we can share all of this knowledge. And we absolutely need to be able to use all of the knowledge that's available. We can't be reinventing the wheel at every turn at the pace that we're moving. And so being able to identify those SMEs easily and quickly is incredibly important. And we build those tools internally so that we can achieve those goals.
Thanks, Jess.
And I have one for John. John, what do you see as the future of Novavax post-COVID?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. For a company as small as Novavax, anytime you see a rocket take off, such as the $1.6 billion investment from Operation Warp Speed, it can lead to a question around over-concentration of business opportunity. So trying to keep this answer short, we've used a vaccine platform in our COVID response. And so we use a standard cell line, a standard viral vector, and a standard set of purification technologies. And so this is the same platform that we've used for previous products that the world really didn't hear much about. So we had a phase 1 level Ebola vaccine that we thought was very effective. And fortunately for the world, Ebola receded and was not a threat. We had preclinical candidates for SARS and MERS. And fortunately, those viruses did not emerge. And we also had late-stage programs for RSV and nanoflu. So really, our feeling is that the COVID opportunity for the product is really around trying to beat back this pandemic threat, but it's also an opportunity to show investors and business partners what our platform can do and how it could be leveraged for other products. So in the long run, it's about commercializing our nanoflu product with successful phase 3 results and applying the platform to other opportunities.
And real quick, that's great, John. Thank you. Stephanie, and then Arthur, maybe also, since you didn't have a chance in the beginning, introduce yourself. And then, one of you, I know one of the questions came in but around what is the interview process like, especially now during COVID?
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie Major, and I have been a SuperNOVA for the past 6 years. It's been terrific. I'm actually the head of talent acquisition, and I work with Arthur, who you'll meet in a few minutes here. But I want to take this opportunity to thank all of our guests today, all of our panelists for attending. This has been a super event so far, and I really want to thank Chris and his team from BioBuzz. It's been spectacular. It's the first one we've done. And I hope you all take the opportunity to visit our career pages at the end of this event so you can become a SuperNOVA too. And I'll turn it over to Arthur.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. Thanks again for joining. My name is Arthur Zlatski. I'm the manager of talent acquisition. I'm one of the folks that was part of the growth of Novavax. So I joined back in July. So it's been an awesome experience. Really enjoyed the team and partner with all the managers here and all the folks on this call when it comes to hiring. So one of the things that really drew me to Novavax is the culture, and I think the folks that we work with on a day-to-day basis. So while we've continued to grow quite rapidly, I think that has been at the forefront of everybody's mind when building out the teams to make sure everybody's a great fit, not just a fit for what we need, but long-term as well. And I know I saw a couple questions come through about the careers. Going on our careers page is the best means of applying for those, and please do continue to follow those. We're projecting a lot more growth in 2021. So as positions come available, they'll be posted on our website across various levels and functions within the organization.
And Arthur, Stephanie, what during the COVID time, like what's the interview process? Is it all virtual? Are people coming in? Could you share that with some of our attendees?
Sure. Yep. Right now, all of our videos are done virtually through Teams. So we do an initial interview with the hiring manager, and then post that interview, then we would set up one-on-one interviews with the rest of the team to interview everyone.
Yeah, I think to add to that, we're trying to take as many precautions as we can during these times. So we have turned to virtual interviews, as well as most, not everybody, but most of our employees are working remote, at least most of the time. We do have some folks that are working on site. Of course, the lab employees are working on site right now, but we're doing everything that we can right now, Chris, to make sure we keep everybody safe.
Yeah, that's very important. And this is what these webinars are for. You can't, when you're doing virtual interviews, you don't always get to see behind the scenes that hopefully you're getting to see today and getting to meet a lot more of the team through this. So we're happy that we have so many people interested in online today. If I could ask one more question of the whole panel or whoever wants to ask, and then I'll let Arthur and you go through. We've got a lot of questions that are in queue. So I guess one kind of overall question that we get all the time that I think is a question that a lot of people want to know is, what is it that you look for in a candidate when you see their resume or you're interviewing? What is it that is going to make someone stand out, show you that they could be a supernova, and make them someone that you're interested in bringing on board? So I'll open that up to whoever wants to jump in first and to answer that. John, you want to go?
A quick answer. I think very simply, we look for people with technical knowledge. Of course, in manufacturing, MS&T, more so technical focus. But we're looking for technical knowledge. We're looking for people that have the ability to adapt that knowledge to new situations, and then flexibility of thought and approach.
I'm going to jump in and say that I look for people that are compassionate, not just about the science and the work they do, but compassionate about working with others and helping other people.
If I can add to that, I would say people who have a problem-solving mentality. So all of our groups have different problems that we're trying to solve, but it gets to that creativity of approach that John was talking about earlier. We all have to solve whatever problems our group is facing, and so that creativity and that methodology is critical.
Chris, I'll jump in as well. And I think from a quality perspective, we're looking for candidates with all the above. Definitely having the technical background, experience, and expertise. Definitely, compassionate and thought-provoking problem solvers, but also having a collaborative team spirit. From the quality organization, we're working with various groups across the organization, not just manufacturing operations, but as well as regulatory affairs, clinical operations, validation. So we basically have our hands in a lot of the different operational groups. So we're looking for individuals that are versatile, that can really do a little bit of everything in order to provide the quality oversight that we need here at Novavax.
Yeah, from my perspective, there are two things. One, to get past the first stage of just getting your resume accepted. Very simply, just make sure that there are no spelling errors. I know that I'm in quality and compliance, but stop laughing, Stephanie. But just make sure that everything looks good and is appropriate. Once you get past that stage, it really is a matter of flexibility, its approach, its compassion. It's the ability, people have, everybody has the capacity to learn. And what we're looking to do is bring people in with the right technical experience, but the ability to grow and expand, the ability to relate to others, and the ability to develop and further develop our culture and our teams.
Terrific. Arthur, do you have any questions? We can open it up. I know we've got quite a few questions in the Q&A. Do you have some questions you've earmarked?
Yep, maybe I can open this one up to the team. And some of the folks touched on this a little bit, but outside of our mission, challenges you face and objectives, and the people that we work with, what are the most exciting things about working at Novavax? So I'll open it up to the panel.
This is Stephanie, and I was just thinking I wanted to share some of the fun things that we used to do pre-COVID. And one of the things that I thought was really neat about Novavax when I joined is we actually went bowling on Fridays. I know that's crazy. We've been talking about science and technology and working super hard and being challenged, but we like to have fun too, and hopefully we'll get back to the time where we do go to the bowling alley on Fridays and have a little healthy competition, amongst one another, get to meet our neighbors that we may not get to meet unless they were in the lane next to us. We used to have parking lot parties to get to know each other. Zumba, yoga. So there's a lot of fun things that we try to do also. We know that we work really hard, so we try to play hard every once in a while as well.
I want to add to that. Stephanie's team has historically done a great job of coming up with cool ideas to get everybody doing something other than work. And one of the activities that I really enjoyed was the fitness challenges. So they rolled out these, they were app-based fitness challenges where you had to log steps. And of course, we're motivated and competitive. And so I was on a team that the cycle reset every Monday, and we got into the habit of trying to log 100,000 steps by noon on Wednesday. And if you don't know what that is, it basically, I don't know, I would be exhausted, but we won.
Yeah, we did. I was on that team.
So we would incorporate, obviously there's some fun and some healthy competition, but we started incorporating walking meetings for anything that we felt like wouldn't require, presenting in a conference room. And that's something that, that changes your outlook on the day. You go home at the end of the day and you're feeling like kind of energized, like, hey, I got outside and I had some physical activity. So that was fun.
Thank you for that, John. Actually, to piggyback on that note, one of the questions we had from the panelists was, with how busy we are, does that mean that there will be opportunity for more entry-level folks as the tech transfer continues to expand in 2021?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to identify new roles as well as some new groups. As mentioned earlier, we're evolving from a clinical development organization to a commercial one. So over the course of the past year, I can't even count how many new departments have popped up and come through, because the needs of a clinic, the business needs of a clinical development organization are different from a commercial one. So absolutely, both levels, entry level as well as through senior management, we're continuing to hire.
Yeah, I would agree with Fred. The key thing is that this year has been about hiring the people that fit into very specific needs on a short time frame. But as we move into 2021, we will be trying to stabilize the organization and move to a larger, more sustainable set of roles and responsibilities, and that'll cause us to have more openings at the entry level.
I'm looking at some of the questions, and a lot of people are asking about, positions within other departments, because today we did specifically cater this virtual career fair to quality, MS&T, manufacturing type of positions. But we do have over 80 positions posted on our website across the organization. I don't think there's one department that is not hiring right now. We do plan on adding over 350 positions in 2021. So please, feel free, go to our website, www.novavax.careers, and apply online. And we'll definitely take an opportunity to look at your application and credentials.
One of the questions that came in also was around international positions. So are you hiring externally as well outside the US or just in the US?
I can speak to tech transfer. So we are looking at people international that would be able to support local interaction with contract manufacturing organizations. Those roles are very specific because they relate to geographical locations where we have CMO relationships. But that's one example of international opportunities.
Great. And I guess while we're with you, John, for tech transfer, I mean, are you looking for people that have that tech transfer experience, or are you, are there other things that will you take people from your team with other skills and that tend to fit well, and what does that look like?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier about, we look for people with technical knowledge and the ability to apply those in new ways. So, certainly we've been open-minded about hiring. So part of it is looking at people that have done a specific task before, but others, in another way, it's really about finding talent and the right type of mindset. So certainly we don't exclude candidates that don't have the specific experience in the past. It's about finding people that we believe would be successful in the future.
I think I'm an example of that. Sorry, Fred. Before working at Novavax, I was making radar at Northrop Grumman. So I absolutely came from outside of the industry, and it was really exciting for me that Novavax took a chance on me. And, I've been here now for almost 5.5 years. So it's been a really great experience.
And I think that one of the things that we look at organizationally is yes, we look for the technical experience, but we're looking for the capabilities. So for example, in my group, we've hired a couple people, a couple of auditors who haven't specifically audited the vaccine space or the biotech space. They've come from the food industry, but the process and the knowledge is transferable. So we're not just looking at a very narrow window for our candidates. We're looking for the defined capabilities, and then they can understand, they can grow and understand the vaccine business, biotech.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to Kate. When I started, although I started at an entry-level position, my experience was in quality, but I was working for a chemical manufacturer in Ohio, and then came to Maryland and decided I wanted to get into the pharma industry. And thankfully, Novavax took a chance on my experience. But it's like everybody said, it's not necessarily about finding specific people with specific experience. It's about who's going to fit best and who can grow into that role the best.
Sam, to piggyback on that, we actually had a question for both you and Jess about the career growth that you've had at Novavax. Who would you say were the seasoned professionals that helped you with that journey and your growth?
No.
Well, definitely Fred, in my experience. Like I said, when I started, the quality group was much smaller, and I reported directly to Fred. And then, as the group developed, people moved around a little bit. I went to other people, stayed with Fred, and back and forth. But everybody that I've met with the team has been valuable in some way or another in terms of my career growth and helping me decide what path I want to take. So there isn't just one or two people, although I think personally Fred has helped me probably the most in that path since he was my direct manager the longest, but everybody is helpful. That's, I think, something that's a big part of Novavax is nobody's going to turn away and not offer to help you.
And for me, it was really a piece of being able to be a part of all of the cross-functional teams. So as a bench scientist in analytical development, I maybe would not interact with Kate and John as much as you would think, but a lot of the meetings for the analytical development program were cross-functional. And so they were able to, watch me present and get to know my technical expertise. And I think being able to have high visibility across a variety of teams has really enabled me to grow my career at Novavax.
Hi, I received a question. It says, I see there are a lot of technical positions open. What about marketing and communication roles with technical experience? And that's a great question. We are just getting ready to build our marketing and our communication teams. We've hired some of the leadership, and we're going to see a lot of growth in these areas in first quarter of 2021. So keep an eye out on our website, and I think you'll find that there'll be a lot of positions within marketing and corporate communications.
Terrific. Arthur, any more from the Q&A that stood out? And just as a note also to attendees that are on today, if your questions aren't answered, we'll try to make sure we get an email off to you to answer them afterwards. Some of the questions are pretty specific, and and again, we'll make sure that after the webinar, there's some follow-up on those.
I think we wrapped it up.
Wonderful. Well, this has been fantastic. Just looking at the chat and the questions, I can tell that everybody really enjoyed this and enjoyed hearing everybody's stories and feedback. As a job seeker, people often feel that they're in the dark. And I think something that you all did today is you really kind of shine a light on really what it is like to be a SuperNOVA at Novavax and how they can apply and become part of that. So kudos and thank you to all of our panelists today. And everybody who worked hard to put this on. I guess as a final closing for everybody, maybe we go around and have everybody just have one last final thing on why somebody should apply and to be part of your team. Maybe that's a good way to wrap things up and get everybody excited. Why don't we start from the top down again? Fred, we'll start with you and go in order. Why is it that someone should join your team? And we'll wrap up with that.
I think John made a great point that you're getting to see the entire life cycle of a vaccine manufacturer from early stage development to commercial in a consolidated time frame, and the learning experience that this that affords to everyone involved is tremendous.
Thanks, Fred.
You just
trying not to be redundant. I think you'll have the opportunity to tell your friends and family what you do, and they're going to be very interested to hear about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm going to be a broken record, but if you like being challenged every day at work, this is absolutely the atmosphere for that.
Remember to unmute this time. I think, anyone that's looking to join the quality organization, as I stated, we're looking for, like-minded individuals that are not afraid of challenges, looking to work together in a collaborative effort to fight this global pandemic. And I think we have an awesome team here at Novavax. We're doing some great things, and we're making groundbreaking discoveries. So if you want to be a part of this, come join Novavax. We're looking to have you.
And similar to what the other panelists have said, if you want to build the plane that you're flying, this is the time to join Novavax. We are learning as we go, and we're doing it successfully, and it's just a really exciting time to be a part of this organization.
Yeah, like everybody else has said, it's a challenge, and if you like a challenge, this is the right place for you. But we're having a good time doing it.
And let me add one thing to building the plane while we're flying it. The other aspect is the runway is still being developed. So just like us in the industry, we're figuring out and we're identifying where the greatest risks are and we're addressing those. But from a regulatory aspect, they're also trying to make sure that they're serving the global population and doing what's appropriate. Some regulatory authorities globally have a bit of a different approach, but ultimately we're challenging the regulatory authorities with some of the things that we're doing as well.
Terrific. Stephanie, Arthur, do you want to answer that question too, and then we'll wrap it up?
Yeah, sure. I think just the opportunity for growth within the organization, and then just getting a chance to work with the cross-functional teams. I think everybody works very well together. That I know that's not always an opportunity with other organizations.
And for me, every day I get up, and I used to go in the office, now walk out of my bedroom, and and I get to work with smart people every single day. And every single day I learn something new. And if that's something that you're looking for, and if you're curious and want to become part of history and become, part of the future, join Novavax. It's a great place to be.
I mean, I think you sold everybody just on the team here. I mean, join this, join Novavax. You get to work with this crew here, which seems like it's a fun, rewarding thing in itself. So, thank you all again. This has been a fantastic webinar. I'm excited to learn more what it's about, what being a SuperNOVA is all about, and I'm sure all of our attendees are as well. From BioBuzz, again, we thank you and we thank everybody at Novavax. Keep an eye on your email. We'll be sending the recording out very shortly. We'll also be doing several articles following up on this event to continue to cover this for the team at Novavax and make sure that we can continue to connect you with the great people and the great careers there at the company. I'd also encourage you to connect with our panelists today. Their LinkedIn is a great way to connect with them. And as Arthur said, make sure you're checking in on the Career Center and checking back regularly, because they're going to continue to hire through 2021. And so they're just getting started. So thank you all again. Have a wonderful holidays to everybody, and we will be seeing you soon.